In female psychology, attraction isn't created by grand gestures or perfect looks. It's created by how a man makes a woman feel about herself when she's with him. Women may forget compliments, gifts, and even promises, but there is one behavior that leaves a permanent emotional imprint. It taps directly into trust, safety, and emotional significance. When a man consistently does this one thing, he becomes unforgettable, not because he tries to be remembered, but because his presence reshapes her emotional world. Understanding this principle changes how women emotionally bond and why some men remain etched in memory long after others fade away. When a man makes a woman feel deeply seen and understood, he creates an emotional experience that her mind and heart instinctively hold on to. This is not about agreeing with everything she says or trying to fix her problems, but about offering presence that communicates, I see you as you are. In female psychology, this level of emotional recognition is rare, and rarity increases value. Many people listen only to respond, interrupt, or redirect the conversation back to themselves. But a man who listens to understand operates differently. He pays attention not only to her words, but to the emotions beneath them. He notices the pauses in her speech, the change in her tone, the moments where her eyes reveal more than her voice. This makes her feel acknowledged on a deeper level, something that goes far beyond surface attraction. Feeling seen means she does not have to perform, impress, or hide parts of herself to be accepted. When a man allows a woman to express her fears, doubts, dreams, and contradictions without judgment, her nervous system relaxes. Psychologically, safety is the foundation of emotional attachment. Her mind begins to associate his presence with relief, calm, and emotional grounding. Over time, this association becomes powerful. Even when he is not physically present, the emotional imprint remains because he represents a space where she could be fully herself without fear of being misunderstood or minimized. Understanding also means emotional validation. A woman never forgets a man who does not dismiss her feelings by calling her too sensitive or overreacting. Instead, he acknowledges her emotional reality, even if he doesn't fully relate to it. When he says, through his actions and words, your feelings make sense, he reinforces her sense of self-worth. Female psychology responds deeply to validation because it affirms identity. When a man validates her inner world, she feels respected at a core level, and respect is far more memorable than charm. Another powerful aspect of being understood is emotional attunement. A man who intuitively knows when to give space and when to offer closeness creates emotional harmony. He does not pressure her to open up before she is ready, nor does he withdraw when she does. This balance shows emotional intelligence, which women subconsciously associate with long-term safety and reliability. Emotional intelligence allows him to respond rather than react, and this calm responsiveness makes him stand out from men who become defensive, distant, or overwhelmed by emotions. Being deeply seen also means remembering details that matter to her, not trivial facts for the sake of impressing her, but meaningful things, her values, her struggles, the experiences that shaped her. When a man remembers these things, it signals that she matters beyond the moment. Her mind interprets this as emotional investment. Over time, this builds a sense of significance. She feels important in his world, not because he says it, but because his attention proves it. There is also a healing aspect to being seen. Many women carry emotional wounds from past experiences where they felt ignored, misunderstood, or emotionally invisible. When a man consistently sees her, he doesn't just create attraction, he creates emotional repair. This does not mean he becomes her therapist, but his presence challenges old beliefs about not being enough or not being understood. Psychologically, experiences that rewrite old emotional patterns are deeply memorable. She may not consciously label it as healing, but her emotional system recognizes the difference. Importantly, a man who makes her feel understood does not lose himself in the process. He does not abandon his boundaries or suppress his own emotions. This balance is crucial. When understanding comes from strength rather than neediness, it creates respect alongside emotional closeness. Female psychology responds strongly to this combination because it signals maturity. She feels understood without feeling responsible for him, which keeps attraction intact. Over time, this emotional depth creates a unique bond. Other men may come and go, offering excitement, attention, or superficial connection, but they lack the emotional resonance she experienced with the man who truly saw her. Memory is tied to emotion, and deep emotional experiences are stored more vividly. This is why women never forget a man who made them feel deeply seen and understood. He didn't just occupy a place in her life, he touched a part of her inner world that few ever reach. And once that door has been opened, the imprint it leaves is impossible to erase, even as time moves forward and life continues to change. When a man remains emotionally steady during a woman's vulnerable moments, he creates a sense of safety that reaches far deeper than words or actions ever could. Vulnerability is not just emotional expression, it is exposure. In those moments, a woman is revealing uncertainty, fear, insecurity, or emotional intensity that she does not show to everyone. Female psychology treats these moments as high-risk emotional states. If she feels judged, dismissed, or abandoned during them, her nervous system remembers the pain. But when a man stays calm, present, and grounded, her mind records him as a source of stability, and that imprint lasts. Emotional steadiness does not mean emotional coldness. It means he does not become overwhelmed, defensive, or reactive when she is struggling. When she feels anxious, he does not escalate. When she feels sad, he does not withdraw. When she is confused, he does not rush her to clarity. His emotional regulation becomes a stabilizing force. Psychologically, her nervous system begins to mirror his calm. This is called co-regulation, and it is one of the strongest foundations of emotional bonding. She may not consciously recognize it, but her body feels safer around him. Many men make the mistake of trying to fix her emotions instead of holding space for them. Emotional steadiness means he allows her feelings to exist without trying to control or minimize them. He does not say things like, "It's not a big deal," or "Just don't think about it." Instead, his presence communicates patience and acceptance. This tells her that her emotions are not a burden. Female psychology responds deeply to this because it removes the fear of being too much, a fear many women carry silently. Another key element of emotional steadiness is consistency. He does not disappear emotionally when things get uncomfortable. During vulnerable moments, many people shut down, change tone, or pull away. When a man remains the same, calm, attentive, emotionally available, she learns that she does not have to protect herself around him. This predictability creates trust. Trust, once established at this level, is extremely difficult to replace. Her mind associates him with reliability, not excitement alone, and reliability is what anchors long-term emotional memory. Emotional steadiness also communicates strength, not dominance or control, but inner strength. A man who can stay grounded while emotions are intense signals maturity. Female psychology subconsciously links this kind of emotional strength to leadership and protection, not in a physical sense, but in an emotional one. She feels that if life becomes overwhelming, he will not collapse or abandon her. This creates deep emotional respect, which strengthens attachment without dependency. There is also a profound impact on how she expresses herself over time. When a woman feels safe being vulnerable, she opens more. Emotional steadiness gives her permission to be honest without fear of consequences. She becomes more authentic, more expressive, and more emotionally connected. This deepens the bond naturally, without force. Her emotional world expands around him because he has proven he can handle it. Importantly, remaining emotionally steady does not mean tolerating disrespect or chaos. A grounded man still has boundaries. He does not absorb emotional volatility or allow manipulation. Instead, he remains calm while maintaining clarity. This balance is crucial. When steadiness is paired with self respect, it creates both safety and attraction. She feels emotionally supported without feeling that he is weak or easily shaken. From a psychological standpoint, emotionally steady men become emotional anchors. During moments of fear, stress, or vulnerability, her mind recalls how she felt with him, safe, held, and understood. Memory is strongly tied to emotional contrast. If she experienced chaos elsewhere but calm with him, that contrast strengthens the imprint. Even after time passes or circumstances change, that emotional memory remains vivid. This is why women never forget a man who stayed emotionally steady when they were vulnerable. He did not try to escape her emotions, dominate them, or invalidate them. He stayed. He remained present when it mattered most. And in female psychology, presence during vulnerability is not just remembered. It becomes part of her emotional blueprint, shaping how she defines safety, trust, and connection long after the moment itself has passed. When a man respects a woman without trying to control her, he creates a form of attraction that operates quietly but powerfully. Respect is not loud and it does not demand recognition. Yet in female psychology, it carries enormous emotional weight. Control, even when disguised as concern or protection, triggers resistance and emotional shutdown. Respect, on the other hand, signals trust in her intelligence, autonomy, and ability to choose for herself. When a woman feels respected in this way, she experiences emotional freedom, and freedom is deeply attractive. Respect without control means he does not attempt to shape her decisions to fit his comfort. He does not guilt her for her independence, question her every move, or subtly pressure her to change who she is. Instead, he allows her to exist as a complete individual. Psychologically, this tells her that she is valued not for compliance, but for authenticity. Female psychology responds strongly to this because being accepted without conditions creates emotional security. A controlling dynamic often begins subtly: unsolicited advice, constant checking, emotional reactions when she chooses differently. A respectful man avoids these traps. He listens, offers perspective when asked, and trusts her judgment. This trust is powerful. When a woman feels trusted, she naturally feels closer. Trust communicates equality, and equality strengthens emotional connection far more than dominance ever could. She feels like a partner, not a possession. Respect also shows up in how he handles disagreement. Instead of asserting authority or withdrawing affection, he remains open and calm. He does not punish her emotionally for having a different opinion. This tells her that love and acceptance are not conditional on obedience. In female psychology, this removes fear from the relationship dynamic. When fear is removed, intimacy deepens. Another important aspect of respect is emotional boundaries. A man who respects a woman does not demand access to every part of her emotional world. He understands that she may need space, time, or privacy, and he does not interpret this as rejection. This non invasive presence makes her feel safe. Ironically, when a woman does not feel emotionally cornered, she opens up more freely. Respect creates invitation, not pressure. Respect without control also reinforces attraction through strength. A man who does not need to dominate to feel secure demonstrates confidence. Female psychology is highly attuned to this. Confidence rooted in self assurance feels calm and grounded, unlike insecurity, which often fuels control. When a woman senses that a man is secure in himself, she feels more secure with him. This mutual security creates a stable emotional bond. There is also a long term impact on how she remembers him. Many women have experienced relationships where love came with conditions, monitoring, or emotional manipulation. A man who breaks that pattern stands out. Psychologically, experiences that contrast with past negative patterns become deeply memorable. Respect feels like relief, and relief is something the mind does not easily forget. Importantly, respecting a woman does not mean passivity. He still expresses his needs, values, and boundaries clearly. The difference is that he does not force alignment through pressure. He allows choice. Choice preserves dignity. When a woman feels her dignity is intact, her emotional attachment grows naturally rather than through obligation. Over time, this dynamic creates deep loyalty and emotional attachment. She feels free, yet connected, independent, yet close. This balance is rare, and rarity increases value in memory. Even if circumstances change or the relationship ends, the emotional imprint remains. She remembers the man who allowed her to be herself without fear, without control, and without losing his strength. This is why women never forget a man who respected them without trying to control them. He didn't cage her, question her worth, or shrink her world. He expanded it by trusting her within it, and that kind of respect becomes an emotional reference point she carries forward, shaping how she recognizes healthy connection for the rest of her life. In the end, what truly defines a man in a woman's memory is not how intensely he pursued her, but how he treated her emotional world when it was open in his hands. A man who made her feel deeply seen and understood gave her a sense of emotional recognition that is rare and irreplaceable. A man who remained emotionally steady during her vulnerable moments became a source of safety when her inner world felt unstable. And a man who respected her without trying to control her allowed her to feel free while still feeling deeply connected. These qualities do not create attachment through force or fear, but through trust, calm, and genuine presence. Female psychology remembers experiences that feel safe, respectful, and emotionally grounding because they shape how a woman understands connection at its core. Long after words fade and circumstances change, the emotional imprint of such a man remains, not because he tried to be unforgettable, but because he showed up in the ways that mattered most.